Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. For those of you watching for the first time, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest updates about BTS. Today we're going to discuss news that is absolutely mind-blowing and will definitely make you as ARMY even more excited for BTS's comeback this coming March. So guys, you know that BTS will be making their comeback on March 20th, 2026 with an album titled ARIRANG, right? Well, recently some incredible facts have emerged from inside BigHit Music. It turns out that Jimin and Jungkook have a much bigger role than we thought in this album. And what's most shocking is that they've been praised extensively by BigHit staff for their extraordinary artistic vision abilities, even being compared to professional film directors. Don't believe it? Let's break it down one by one. According to testimonies from several senior BigHit Music staff members who worked directly on the ARIRANG album project, Jimin and Jungkook showed incredibly deep involvement in every visual aspect of this album. And this isn't just about giving input or sharing ideas, okay guys? They were truly involved from A to Z in the creative visual process of the ARIRANG album. One staff member who wanted to remain anonymous said that initially they thought Jimin and Jungkook would just give input as usual, but it turned out these two members came with concepts that were already extremely well developed. Imagine this, guys. They came to meetings bringing complete storyboards, visual references from various sources, down to technical details of camera shots. This wasn't an idea that came out of nowhere, but the result of months of research and hard work. BigHit staff themselves were shocked because the level of preparation that Jimin and Jungkook brought is usually only seen in professional directors or creative directors with years of experience. Now, their involvement in the visual aspect of the ARIRANG album actually started in mid-2025, not long after they completed their military service in June 2025. What's interesting is that, unlike other BTS members who focused more on music production and lyric writing, Jimin and Jungkook were more interested in exploring the visual and cinematic side of this BTS comeback. Guys, do you know what they did for this preparation? They spent days, even weeks, at libraries and museums. They studied traditional Korean art, cinematography, color theory, and even symbolism in Korean culture. Imagine their dedication. While others might rest after completing military service, they immediately dove into learning new things to give the best for ARMY. One photographer who worked on this project was even speechless about the preparation Jimin and Jungkook brought. This photographer, who has over 15 years of experience in the industry, said that every time they had meetings, Jimin and Jungkook always came with thick notebooks filled with sketches, mood boards, and visual references from various sources. From classic Korean films to contemporary international artists' works. What impressed everyone the most was how they could explain their vision in such detail and technical terms. They understood lighting, composition, camera angles, and even the color grading they wanted. This is the level of knowledge usually possessed by people who majored or specialized in cinematography or film production. But Jimin and Jungkook learned all of this self-taught because of their passion. Now guys, there's one moment that was apparently the most memorable for the production team. So at that time, Jimin and Jungkook presented the visual concept for one of the main music videos in the ARIRANG album. They didn't just bring ideas or concepts verbally, but they had already created a complete storyboard with 47 scenes that they drew themselves. Yes guys, you heard that right. 47 scenes, and they drew them themselves. Each scene was accompanied by super detailed notes about the emotions they wanted to convey, the symbolism behind each visual element, down to specific references for costume and set design. One of BigHit Music's creative directors said their presentation was more professional than some directors who had worked with BigHit before. They really knew what they wanted, and most importantly, they knew why they wanted it. What impressed the production team even more was the chemistry between Jimin and Jungkook in their collaboration. Even though they have different visual styles, they could work together very harmoniously. Jimin is known to have a preference for aesthetics that are soft, dreamy, and full of emotional symbolism. Meanwhile, Jungkook prefers visuals that are bold, high contrast, and cinematic with complex camera techniques. Normally, differences in preferences like this could be problematic, right? But with Jimin and Jungkook, these differences actually created a unique visual chemistry and enriched the overall concept of the ARIRANG album. They complement each other perfectly. When Jimin comes with concepts that are very emotional and poetic, Jungkook will find ways to realize them technically. And vice versa, when Jungkook has a brilliant technical idea, Jimin will help provide soul and emotional depth to that idea. There's also a story from one of the video editors involved in this project. He said he was used to working with idols who have opinions about their visuals, but Jimin and Jungkook are on a different level. They don't just say, "I like this," or "I don't like that," but they can explain technically why a certain shot needs to be edited in a particular way, why transitions should be slower or faster, and how visual rhythm should match the music. They truly understand the language of cinema. Now, speaking of dedication, this is what made BigHit staff respect them the most. So guys, Jimin and Jungkook's working hours were extraordinarily long. Several staff members reported that these two members were often the last people to leave the editing studio. It wasn't uncommon for them to spend time until 3 or 4 a.m. just to ensure every visual detail matched their vision. There was one night when they reviewed the same scene for almost 6 hours. Yes, guys, 6 hours for one scene. And all of that was just to get the right timing for one particular emotional moment. Their level of perfectionism is truly extraordinary. This shows that they're genuinely serious and passionate about what they're working on. The coolest thing about Jimin and Jungkook's visual contribution is how they successfully combine traditional Korean elements with modern and contemporary aesthetics. You know that the ARIRANG album takes its name from a very iconic Korean folk song, right? Well, Jimin and Jungkook made sure that every visual element in this album pays tribute to Korean culture while still feeling fresh and relevant to a global audience. They even spent time consulting with historians, traditional artists, and even anthropologists to ensure that every symbolism they used had authenticity and deep meaning. This is no joke, guys. They really did incredibly in-depth research. One concrete example of their artistic vision is in choosing shooting locations. Jimin and Jungkook insisted on shooting at several historical locations in Korea that are rarely exposed in modern media. They even did site visits themselves to more than 20 different locations before deciding on their final choices. One location scout who accompanied them said that Jimin and Jungkook didn't want locations that looked like typical tourist spots. They were looking for places that have soul, that have stories, that could add layers of meaning to the visuals. And when they found the right location, their eyes would light up like children discovering treasure. That's so sweet, right guys? In terms of costume design as well, Jimin and Jungkook were very hands-on. They worked with designers to create outfits that weren't just visually stunning, but also had symbolic meaning and connection with the ARIRANG theme. They even rejected more than 10 initial concepts because they felt they didn't represent their vision enough. One stylist who worked on this project said that Jimin and Jungkook have an extraordinary eye for detail. They could notice if even one button was positioned incorrectly, or if the fabric movement didn't match the choreography they had planned. This level of attention to detail is usually only found in professional fashion designers. What made BigHit staff respect them even more is that even though Jimin and Jungkook have a very strong vision, they remain humble and open to input. They never acted authoritarian or dismissive toward ideas from the production team. On the contrary, they always opened discussions, listened to different perspectives, and were willing to compromise when there were reasonable technical or creative reasons. One producer said that Jimin and Jungkook know when to be firm with their vision and when to be flexible. That's a quality that's very rarely found, even in experienced directors. This shows their maturity not only as artists but also as creative professionals. What's also fascinating, guys, is how their experience filming Are You Sure? Season 2 actually contributed to their visual expertise for ARIRANG. During their travels through Switzerland and Vietnam for the show, they became more aware of how environments, lighting, and natural settings could enhance storytelling. They learned to see the world through a director's lens, constantly thinking about framing, composition, and visual narrative. This real-world experience gave them practical knowledge that they brought directly into the ARIRANG project. Several staff members mentioned that Jimin and Jungkook would often reference specific moments or shots from their travels when explaining what they wanted for certain scenes. They'd say things like, "Remember that golden hour lighting we had in Switzerland? We need that exact warmth and tone for the sequence," or "The way the camera captured our natural interactions in Vietnam, That's the authenticity we want here. This ability to translate their lived experiences into concrete visual direction was something that really impressed the entire production team. Another remarkable aspect that staff highlighted was their understanding of storytelling through color palettes. Jimin, in particular, developed an intricate color story for the album that represents different emotional journeys throughout ARIRANG. He created mood boards for each track, assigning specific color schemes that would flow seamlessly from one music video to another, creating a cohesive visual album experience. Jungkook then worked on how to technically achieve these colors through lighting and post-production, ensuring that Jimin's emotional color language could be perfectly realized on screen. The production team also revealed that Jimin and Jungkook invested their own time in learning professional editing software. They didn't just want to communicate their ideas to editors. They wanted to understand the technical possibilities and limitations of the editing process. So during their downtime, they took online courses in Adobe Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve. This meant that when they sat down with the editing team, they could have more productive conversations about effects, transitions, and color grading because they understood the technical language. What's truly remarkable, guys, is how Jimin and Jungkook managed to balance multiple roles simultaneously during this entire production process. They weren't just focusing on the visual aspects. They were also recording vocals, learning new choreography, participating in music production meetings, and preparing for the upcoming world tour. Yet somehow, they managed to dedicate hundreds of hours to the visual conceptualization without compromising on any other aspect of their work. This level of time management and dedication is something that even seasoned industry professionals find difficult to achieve. One of the assistant directors shared an incredible story about Jimin's attention to symbolic details. Apparently, Jimin spent weeks researching traditional Korean patterns and their meanings. He wanted to incorporate these patterns subtly into the visual narrative of ARIRANG, not in an obvious, costumey way, but woven organically into the fabric of the storytelling. He'd point out specific patterns that represented concepts like unity, perseverance, or homecoming, and explain exactly where and how they should appear in the frame. This level of cultural research combined with aesthetic sensibility really elevated the entire visual concept to something much more meaningful than just pretty pictures. Similarly, Jungkook's technical obsession brought innovation to the project. He became particularly interested in unconventional camera movements and angles that could create more immersive viewing experiences. He researched techniques used in acclaimed films and music videos from around the world, then worked with the cinematography team to adapt these techniques for BTS's unique performance style. One camera operator mentioned that Jungkook would sometimes demonstrate exactly how he wanted the camera to move by physically moving through the space himself, showing the exact rhythm and pace he envisioned. The collaboration between these two also extended to how they directed other BTS members during filming. Staff members noted that Jimin and Jungkook had a gentle but clear way of communicating their vision to the other members. They'd explain not just what they wanted the members to do, but why it mattered for the overall story. This approach made everyone feel invested in the visual narrative rather than just following directions. V mentioned in a Weverse post that working with Jimin and Jungkook on the visual concepts helped him understand his own performances more deeply. RM himself mentioned in one interview that Jimin and Jungkook's transformation into something like creative directors for the visual aspect was something natural. According to him, Jimin and Jungkook have always had a deep interest in visual arts and cinematography, and the time during military service gave them the opportunity to learn and explore that interest more deeply. RM said that during military service, Jimin and Jungkook watched a lot of films, read books about visual storytelling, and even took online courses about cinematography. So when the time came to work on the ARIRANG album, they were already very prepared. This is so inspiring, right guys? While they had to go through military service, which must have been exhausting, they still made time to learn and develop new skills. BigHit staff also said that the chemistry between Jimin and Jungkook in this creative aspect brought new energy to the production process. Their passion is very contagious. When the team saw them so excited and dedicated to their work, it made the entire team want to give their best too. They literally raised the quality standards for everyone involved in this project. There's also an interesting anecdote about how Jimin and Jungkook handled creative disagreements. While they generally aligned on the overall vision, there were moments when they had different opinions on specific creative choices. Instead of letting this become a problem, they developed a system where they create two versions of contentious scenes and then gather feedback from the other members and the production team. This democratic approach not only resulted in better final products, but also showed their maturity and commitment to creating the best possible outcome rather than just pushing their individual preferences. Now guys, the results of Jimin and Jungkook's hard work will soon be visible when the ARIRANG album is officially released on March 20th, 2026. According to leaks from inside BigHit, the visual content they've worked on includes not just music videos, but also concept photos, behind-the-scenes content, and even a special visual album that will be released in an interactive digital format. One BigHit music executive said this will be the most comprehensive visual package BTS has ever released. And all of that wouldn't have been possible without the vision and dedication of Jimin and Jungkook. So guys, we need to be even more excited waiting for BTS's comeback in March. What's also interesting is that with the abilities and passion that Jimin and Jungkook have shown in this ARIRANG project, many people in the industry are starting to speculate that they have great potential to have careers as creative directors or even film directors in the future. Imagine guys, one day we might watch a film directed by Jimin or Jungkook. Wouldn't that be amazing? But for now, their focus remains on giving the best to ARMY through this highly anticipated BTS comeback. And from all the information we got today, it's very clear that this comeback will be something truly special and different from before. Okay guys, that's our discussion today about Jimin and Jungkook's extraordinary artistic vision in the ARIRANG album. What do you think? Are you even more excited waiting for BTS's comeback? Or do you have your own predictions about what the ARIRANG album visuals will look like? Share in the comments section. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel for the latest BTS updates, and share with fellow ARMYs. Also turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next videos. See you in the next video, and don't forget to always support BTS and its members. Bye bye!